Psychic Phase is back, baby!
Woo!
We got the Thousand Sons Codex. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Miniatures Rundown. I'm Cody.
I'm Mitchell.
And today we've got the Thousand Sons Codex for 10th edition.
Woo!
And as we mentioned in our little cold open, Psychic Phase is back.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the parts about Thousand Sons that I miss the most. I know Grey Knights and, Tzeentch Demons also had a lot of psychic shenanigans, but man, Thousand Sons, they didn't have much else.
Yeah, no. That was pretty much their entire identity in 9th edition, at least from what I know of them in 9th edition.
Their psychic phase was like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And their shooting was like 15 and their melee was like non-existent.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they had to kind of cut it back a little bit, but killing it in 10th, that was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Went from being cool magical sorcerers to I cast really cool gun.
Occasionally really cool gun.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still in your shooting phase, so it's still kind of casting gun, but it's a little bit more on theme. The Cabal points are gone.
Yeah, just completely wiped.
Yeah. And instead, they've got the Cabal of Sorcerers, which sounds the same, but it's different. So, if your army faction is Thousand Sons at the start of your shooting phase, one or more models from your army with this ability can attempt rituals from those listed on the right. To do so, select one model from your army with this ability if it has not attempted a ritual this turn, and select one ritual that no model from your army has already manifested this turn, so you can try to cast it twice if you do fail. But you cannot cast it twice if the first one succeeds.
Interesting.
And then, you take a psychic test and you roll 2d6, and they have their different values here. It's very Age of Sigmar spellcasty as far as I'm aware. And then, you can choose to push your luck a little bit and add a third dice in there. Mm-hmm. But if you do that, and then you roll doubles or triples, you take D3 mortal wounds. And then if that model's not destroyed from the D3 mortal wounds and it exceeds it, you manifest it and then it casts your spell.
So it's like what did it used to be called? Not overcharging, but like the power of the warp.
It's kind of like Perils of the Warp.
Perils of the Warp.
But Perils of the Warp, I'm pretty sure was only on double ones and double sixes, I think.
Yeah, double ones, double sixes, and on double sixes they still went off. So
yeah,
it's kind of like that, but it's on all doubles and triples now.
It's kind of like that. So yeah, regular rolling is a little bit safer because I'm pretty sure this doesn't go off on a regular roll. It only goes off when you channel the warp. Is what it's called. Pretty different to the old way of doing it, which I'm not too much aware of because I didn't play them. Like, I'm literally building my army right now. How did the old one work?
So you got Cabal points depending on the characters that you brought, depending on their hierarchy on the scale. You got more Cabal points. Magnus was 4, Ahriman was 3, normal sorcerers were 2, that kind of thing. And you could, at the beginning of every turn, you got X amount of Cabal points depending on what you have on the table, and you could spend them on a variety of different things. They were kind of like spells, where they would be like, let me see if I can bring up an example one. Weaver of Fates. For 2 Cabal points, you can use this ritual once during that phase. When a saving throw is failed for a Thousand Son unit wholly within 18, reroll the saving throw. So it's kind of like an aura that you put out, and you get to reroll a saving throw.
Yeah.
And you spent 2 Cabal points on that. The issue is, as you had to keep track of how many you got, how many you had spent, because you spend them in different phases. And as your sorcerers died, you got less of them throughout the game.
Yeah.
So it was a good effort in trying to keep the psychic phase in 10th edition, but I feel like this is significantly closer to that. I mean, it basically is the psychic phase.
Yeah.
The one I'm interested to see if we have something to replace this. The most popular one was Doombolt, which was basically just mortal wounds. It was 7 Cabal points, which is a lot. But you can pick an enemy unit with an 18 that's not lone operative because they had to change that, and are not within. Sorry, let me read this. Excluding. Oh, okay. You can pick a lone operative if you're close enough to target it. Roll a d6 on a 1. The enemy unit suffers D3 on a 2 through 5. They suffer D3 plus 3, and on a 6, they suffer D3 plus 6. So potential 9 mortal wounds. And there was a way, I don't remember if it was on Ahriman or if it was one of the stratagems to be able to do the same psychic power twice. So you could just like nuke somebody for 18 mortal wounds. So they had to nerf that a little bit.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, so Doombolt is still here.
Okay.
It still manifests on a 7. Age of Sigmar terminology a little bit there. It manifests on a 7. The range has went up to 24 inches. It excludes lone operative models that are not a part of attached unit, blah, blah,
Yep.
that are not within 12. So if they are close, just like that one, you can still do it. But it is only D3 mortal wounds unless the psychic test was a result of a 11 up. Then it's D3 plus 3.
Okay.
So it's only...
So it doesn't have the super max of 9 here.
Yeah, it has a super max of 6, but as you were saying earlier, there is... I don't think it's Ahriman only.
Okay.
I believe it is now an enhancement that you can... Yeah. Once per battle, when selecting a ritual for the bearer to attempt, you can select Doombolt, even if the model from your army has already manifested that ritual this phase.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not just Ahriman anymore, but you can double Doombolt, but only once per game.
Gotcha. What was that one called? I might actually have that.
The
Lord
enhancement.
of Forgotten Lore? Bearer can select to use the ritual even if another psyker from the army has already used it. Okay, so it was an enhancement before as well. Ahriman said that you could use a Cabal point, one of your Cabal spells for free once per game.
Oh, I see. Yeah, this one is, I don't even know if I want to try to pronounce it. Incandeum?
Yeah, you know what? Fair. So yeah.
Yeah.
Changing it up a little bit.
So similar, keeping it
Yes.
a little bit similar, just kind of changing how it works. The new spells, manifestations, whatever you want to call them, in total are Destiny's Ruin. This one goes off on a 5. Select one enemy unit within 24 inches and visible to the manifesting model. Until the end of the phase, each time a Thousand Sons model from your army makes an attack that targets that unit, reroll a hit roll of 1. If the psychic ritual was a 10 up or went off on a 10 up, you can reroll the hit roll instead.
Okay.
So you reroll a hit roll of 1 regularly, and then reroll hit rolls.
Period.
On
if it goes up on a 10 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is actually, it's kind of a mix between psychic power. Well, okay. Wizardry from Age of Sigmar, but also there's their priests have something similar where you get so many points for it to go off, and then you can spend bonus points in order for it to go off like bigger.
Yeah.
So they're kind of taking a little bit from that. I'm sure there was something previously like that in 40k that Sigmar took from, but
and then the next one is Temporal Surge. This one goes off on a 6. Select one friendly Thousand Sons unit that is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units and is within 24 inches of and visible to the manifesting model. That unit can make a normal move of up to D6. If the psychic test for this results was a 10 up, it can make a normal move of 6 instead. So D6 or flat
just
6.
flat 6. Okay.
Yeah, and then it's not eligible to declare a charge afterwards.
Makes
so
sense.
basically just a little bit of extra movement from that one. And then Doombolt, we just talked about that one, just dishing out mortals. And then the last one is Twists of Fate. Select one enemy unit within 24 inches and visible to the manifesting model. Until the end of the phase, each time a Thousand Sons model from your army makes an attack that targets that unit, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. If the psychic test results from this ritual is a 12 up, it is a AP 2.
12 up. Wow, that one's pretty intense.
It's a 9 up normally too, so that one's pretty
Yeah, that one's hard to do.
tough. That one you're probably gonna want to channel the warp because you really want something to die.
Yes. I mean, minus 2 extra AP is huge.
Yeah, there's shenanigans in this book that people are already talking about that you can get like AP 4 flamers and stuff like that. Yeah, it's there's a lot of little stacking things here and there. Like a lot of it's once per game and whatnot.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for their army rule. It's
Okay, so they have like 4 psychic powers that they can use. And you can do it with anything that has this ability. So I'm going to guess it's just on all the wizards.
Yeah. And I really like it because a lot of from what I'm seeing from the index is like there's not a lot of variation in the lists that I'm seeing out there, like example lists people are giving. And that's because everybody's trying to stack Cabal points. Like
you just take a bunch of minimums and a bunch of characters and get like 19 Cabal points.
And then you just never run out of Cabal points. But unfortunately, you're playing basically the same list as everybody else that's playing Thousand Sons, and you're only playing that list whenever you're playing. So this opens the door to some more, list building out there, which I really like.
You can have just 4 wizards on the board and be fine.
Yeah, basically. Maybe a couple extra just in case a Doom Bolt fails or something like that, and then you can try again. But, yeah, you're not going to have 10 characters just so you can max out your Cabal points.
Basically, every current Thousand Sons competitive list is like between 4 and 6 minimum units of Rubric Marines, as many characters as you can do, and then Ahriman. Yeah. And that was like the whole list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
I am glad.
They all look like that, basically.
Yeah, they all do.
There's a little bit of variation in them, but not much.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they're moving away from that.
Yeah, same. But anyway, on to their detachments. Mm-hmm. They got, I think 4 total?
I thought it was 5, but I also didn't read the book.
It is 5.
It is 5?
It is 5. But anyway, Grand Coven, this one, if I had to narrow it down, this is your buff sorcerers kind of thing. Like, I think this is kind of the blanket Thousand Sons detachment, kind of like the Emperor's Children had one. This one, it buffs your sorcerers a little bit. It adds 6 inches to the range characteristics of psychic weapons.
That's good.
So a lot of because they didn't lose like their ICAST gun, like they still have a lot of those. Yeah, it's gonna increase your range of your malefic curses and stuff like that.
Again, all your characters have their psychic stuff.
Yeah,
increase the range.
And then also. Each time a Thousand Sons model from your army makes an attack with a psychic weapon, so again, your curses and whatnot, you add 1 to the wound roll. And then psychic weapons equipped by Thousand Sons models from your army have the devastating wounds wounds ability.
So yeah, this is a lot like, this is the pick one once per game thing. And you get all 3. It's what is it? The Space Marines stupid index detachment that I can't think of the name of.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
The assault doctrines. Yeah. We both thought of it at the same time. Yep. So this is the doctrines one. You get to pick it at the beginning of each turn. You have an option to pick it, and you can only use each once per game. Their old one, Cult of Magic, was more like it was similar in that you got to pick things, but it wasn't only once per game, so you could just pick the same thing every time.
Right.
And the only one that stayed the same is the Devastating Wounds one.
Oh.
It used to be sustained, lethal, or devastating.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
You would just always pick devastating, especially when you're spamming sorcerers. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, this one is definitely the more generic one. Like, take magic, you'll be fine.
Yeah, take a little bit of everything with your sorcerers. I mean, I think it's gonna lists like this one are gonna be closest to what we've seen in the index because it heavily favors what you would already take in that one. But yeah, their enhancements are pretty good. The first one is Lord of Forbidden Lore. Each time the bearer manifests a ritual, resolving that ritual adds 6 to its range. So not only just on the psychic weapons, on all of your rituals as well.
Interesting, because the Lord of Forbidden Lore is the one that's you can do extra psychic powers. So just change the name of that one for some reason. Yeah,
that was interesting. And then the next one is the one that we talked about. It lets you cast the extra Doom Bolt. And then
It's not just Doom Bolt. It's probably going to be Doom Bolt. It's not just Doom Bolt.
No, it is Doom Bolt.
It is just Doom Bolt?
Yeah. You can select Doom Bolt even if a model has already manifested. So
I thought it was
specifically Doom Bolt.
Specifically Doom Bolt.
Yeah.
I thought it was you could pick the same one twice.
No, it's just Doom
That's
Bolt.
Hilarious. They know.
Right. They know what you're going to do. And then next one is Umbrellific Crystal. Thousand Sons model once per battle in your command phase. If the bearer's unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can remove that unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves. And then the reinforcement step, you can bring it back down. So basically, command phase uppy downy.
Yeah. And that's once per game, right?
Yeah. Once per battle.
The Umbrellific Crystal was in the previous one. So this looks like the translation from the index to this book.
So yeah, just pop them up and then drop them somewhere else on the board on your movement phase.
I mean, being able to do that with like a big thing of rubrics or some Terminators or something. It's gross.
Yeah. Absolutely, especially if there's some way to buff them in the command phase kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know Votan had something like that in 9th edition, where you would just slap a buff on their Terminators, you'd pop them up in the air, drop them down, and then they'd have
their buff all the way across the board.
all the way across the board for that same turn.
Yeah. There's a reason the Nightmare Shroud, I think, is the one in Necrons that's just the highest played enhancement. Uppy downy. Once per game. That's all that matters.
And then the last one is Eldritch Vortex of Etop.
Sure.
Yeah. Thousand Sons model only. Add 1 strength and damage characteristics to all psychic weapons equipped by the bearer.
Yeah, that one's also in here. That one's a good, like, I got some points to spend, don't know what to do with it. Just, like, put some extra damage on a psychic.
Right.
Who cares? That one actually used to be really good on the, what's his name? The guy with the screamers. I forget the name of everything, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. The
Thousand Sons guy, that has the little screamers on his base you're talking about?
Yeah.
The Infernal Master.
Yeah. He was really good with the Infernal Master last edition because +1 damage on a flamer.
Stratagems, pretty normal.
Yeah. Any of them jump out to you?
I don't think any of these ones really jump out to me. There is one that I want to talk about in a different attachment.
Sure.
But, okay, there is one I actually want to talk about because it's very situational.
Okay.
It gives your guys a 4-up feel no pain against psychic attacks. So if you're facing like 2 of the 20-something factions that are in this game now,
that have like
you have a stratagem against them.
Nice.
Or if you're mirror matching, like, not great, but otherwise they're pretty normal, run of the mill.
Yeah. Fair.
Protection, a little bit of extra damage, blah blah blah.
Again, this is the generic detachment.
So then going to the not generic one, but kind of generic for chaos, is their demon one, the Change Host of Deceit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be their 1,000 points of allied demons that they can't do otherwise anymore. And it works very similarly. I haven't seen the World Eaters or the Death Guard one, but we talked about the Emperor's Children one, where as long as your guys are standing by demons, they get a buff.
Okay.
And then that buff is they have, if they're within 6 inches and visible to this unit, your demons, they have a 4-up invuln against ranged attacks.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, your psychers get them, but I mean,
that's going to be most of your list.
Basically everything. And then the next
remember,
one,
even if you don't have a psychic unit like Zangor's and you put a psyker in it, it is a psyker unit.
Yes, yeah. And then you've got 1,000 Sons units from your army have the ability Mortal Sorcery, while friendly Scintillating Legions.
Yeah.
A lot of funny names in this book.
Yeah.
Psyker is within 6 inches invisible of this unit. It has the Cabal of Sorcerers ability.
Okay, so you can cast your spells through.
Yeah, so yeah. And then you get the up to 1,000 in a 2,000-point game, up to 1,000 points in a 2,000-point game, basically half your list.
Yeah.
And they can't be your warlord.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And then the enhancements on this one are a little bit... or no, it's not this one. They're weird to me.
Okay.
The enhancements are the Nether Shriek Mind Eater, 1,000 Sons or Lord of Change model only. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 12 and visible to the bearer. That unit must take a battle shock test. If it has failed, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Or no, just 3 mortal wounds. It suffers 3 mortal wounds.
Flat 3 is pretty good. I was gonna say that's a little mediocre because they have to fail a battle shock.
Yeah.
But flat 3 is always good.
Yeah, not bad. The next one is Diabolic Savant. 1,000 Sons infantry model only. While the bearer is within 6 inches of one or more friendly Scintillating Legion units, each time the bearer channels the warp, add 1 to the psychic test result.
Okay.
Nice little
buff.
bonus. Yep. And then Duplicitous Malediction.
I'm playing Thousand Sons for a little bit.
Yeah. 1,000 Sons or Lord of Change model only. After both players have deployed their army, select up to 3,000 Sons units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set those units up in strategic reserves if you wish, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserve.
Okay. So like a little redeploy, put them back in it.
Little redeploy, or you can just start with most of your army in reserve.
I think all of the redeploys that I've seen also have the you can put in reserves.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to say up to 3,000 Sons.
And then the last one is Tome of True Names. That one's an easy one to read. I like that
Those are all
one.
real words.
Yeah, I've heard of all of these words. Thousand Sons infantry model only. Once per battle at the start of any phase, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, until the end of the phase, the bearer has a 2-up invuln.
Once per game, 2-up invuln. Could be very good.
Yeah. If one of your guys, one of your units
Unfortunately,
is in
infantry
danger.
only.
Yeah.
Put it on a demon prince, probably be a little too good.
Yeah, true. But you want somebody to stay alive, throw it on there when he's about to be in danger. Boom.
You gotta hold that point, pop it.
Yep.
Much more likely.
And then again, the stratagems.
I see a 2 CP strat over there.
There is a 2 CP strat. That one is, in the start of the fight phase, 1,000 Sons unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model within engagement range of your unit selects this for its attacks, it can only target your unit if there's no eligible demons near them.
So only in combat.
Yeah, so basically...
You're forcing them to attack the demons. Can only target them if no demons are near them. Yeah, I feel like that's a little steep at 2 CP to like.
I think so too.
Force them to attack. Granted, if I've been playing pink horrors for a very long time, and they're really annoying to deal with. So that's probably why, is because pink horrors have a potential of like 50 wounds.
Yeah, I mean the whole theme of this is to kind of have the demons like be the tar pit in front of your actual Thousand Sons. So that one tracks. Yeah, 2 CP I think is a little bit steep for it because I think it's going to be pretty situational.
Yeah.
Unless you like, I don't know, say, the demon unit is here and then your Thousand Son unit's here and your enemy's here and they charge and they can't quite make it to where they can get away from those demons. I don't know.
I guess I could see like heroic intervening with the demons or something. Yeah. But then I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Seems very situational, very board dependent, but 2 CP is a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, then other than that, there's one Thousand Sons unit from your army was selected as a target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Till the end of the phase, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Okay. Just stuff like that. Normal.
Definitely leaning more defensive for the actual like rubrics.
Yeah. But yeah, that one's cool. I don't have any demons, and with the way demons are going, I don't know if I'm going to start collecting them until we know a little bit more about demons. So I probably won't be playing that one as much, if at all.
Yeah. All right, the Warp Meld Pact. So they have the detachment rule of Warp Meld Sacrifice. Each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot or fight, and one or more Tzeentch mutant units, I'm assuming those are Zangors, in your army are selected as a target of one or more of those attacks, each of those Tzeentch mutant units can make a Warp Meld Sacrifice. If it does, the Tzeentch mutant unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, and until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets them, subtract 1 from their wound roll. Each time a Tzeentch mutant unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, before selecting its targets, the unit can make a Warp Meld Sacrifice. Take D3 mortal wounds and add +1 to the wound roll. So when your Zangors are attacked, you can take D3 damage to subtract 1 from the wound roll. When you attack, +1 to the wound roll. Nice. Zangors have Battle Line. And then the other thing they have is, while they're not battle shocked, add +1 to their objective control of Zangor models in your army. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that one's not bad, especially
the fact that they turn into Battle Line makes sense. And they're, if I'm remembering right, they're a little harder to get rid of than your average like chaff unit. So
yeah, they're not bad, and you can run them up to units of 20, and if they have 2 OC, like that's 40 objective control. You have that. Yeah, you have that.
And you can give them -1 to be wounded. So yeah, they're pretty sticky. Their enhancements, the Warp Meld Dagger is the first one. It is only usable, actually, 3 of these are only on a Zangor Shaman. So I hope you bought your Zangor Shaman. Each time the bearer attempts a ritual just before determining the psychic results, the bearer can use this enhancement. If they do, suffer D3 mortals, noticing a theme. If it's not destroyed as a result, add 1 to the psychic test for each of the mortals suffered. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So the more damage you take, the stronger your psychic power is.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Next up is the Diamond of Distortion, also Zangor Shaman only. While the bear is leading a unit, each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So in addition to your Wartmeld Sacrifice ability, you can have -1 to be hit and wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is the Bray Lord. This one is on Sorcerer or Infernal Master. The bear has Scat 6. Interesting. During the declared battle step, the bear can be attached to Zangor units. Cool. So you can put a Sorcerer or an Infernal Master on Zangors.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Zangors have Scat 6. Because otherwise, that would be stupid. Yeah, getting further up the board always good.
Yes.
Especially if you have the psychic power to be able to move d6 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Movement is king. The last one is Flowing Flesh. Zangor Shaman only. The bear has a 4-up, feel no pain, and a wounds characteristic of 5. That one's fine.
Yeah.
It's only the bearer, so I could see that being like, again, some of these are like, okay, I have some points left over. What do I do with it? Just make one of them, a little harder to kill.
Right.
Or if you're feeling froggy, you can have one by themselves, like without a unit, and like flying around doing stuff like that. Reanimate D3 + 1 Zangors. I like that.
That one is good, especially considering you're going to be sacrificing a lot of them.
Yes, you are. At the end of the phase, add 1 Chaos Spawn unit containing 1 model to your army, set up as close as possible. That was destroyed. So a Thousand Sons character model is destroyed. You get to add 1 Chaos Spawn to your army.
Yeah.
That's great. 4-up Invuln against shooting. Sure. I think Zangors normally have a 5-up Invuln already, so +1 to your Invuln.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they did in the index. I'm kind of guessing. Zangor Tzeentch Mutants. Pile in 6 instead of 3. Eligible to fight. Choose 1. So I understand the movement shenanigans of piling in 6 inches, but I never find it very useful. Basically it's if you barely make your charge, getting some extra guys in. I guess in a 20-man unit, I could see it being more useful.
Yeah, getting more guys in, and then again, just weird shenanigans, kind of like trying to get around the demons.
Yeah.
Like, again, if you're fighting other Thousand Sons, you can just move them away from the demons, kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
It's getting away from other units that might be in combat with you guys, that might be scarier. Just,
I don't know. That one always threw me off. I have that in some of my other armies, and I just never use it. Tzeentch Mutant, shoot and charge when you advance. Sure. Tzeentch Mutant, arriving from reserves, arrive more than 3 inches horizontally. Hang on a second. 3 inches horizontally or anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches if an enemy is a monster. In either case, they cannot declare a charge. So this has to be subject to the 3 inches got changed to 6 inches rule, right?
That's a really good question.
Because all of the 3 inch, the deep strike within just outside of 3 inches got changed to 6 inches.
Yeah, that happened pretty recently though, too, right?
I thought a book has already come out that had that change in it. But I guess it could have just said 6 inches beforehand. I don't know. I'm guessing. This one's interesting. The problem with Zangors is they're not great.
They're not great, and I don't know. I like Zangors. Like, I know everybody kind of makes fun of them, especially with the last combat patrol.
Oh yeah, Josh hates them.
I think they're fun. I think they look cool and stuff like that. But like, I don't know that I'd run half my army of them, which this seems like kind of the route it wants you to go.
You basically, do you get anything? Thousand Sons character, Zangor, mutant.
No,
Psyker,
I think
reanimate Zangors. No, it's like only benefits Zangors.
Whole army of Zangors.
I guess mutant could also be Chaos Spawn. I don't know.
Could be the Mutilith Vortex Beast too.
True. It is.
We'll get to that.
Chaos Spawn is a mutant.
Yep.
And the MVB is also a mutant.
Yep.
Okay. So throw a couple Mutilith Vortex Beasts in there. Spawn are varying levels of useful. I didn't see what it did when I passed.
I think they're just a distraction kind of thing, like the other ones. So,
that's not terrible.
it's not terrible. It's definitely a very specific route you'd want to go with your army. So if you have a lot of Zangors and the ones on flying discs and stuff like that, I mean, it's playable. It seems all right.
That's why. So that's why the reanimation was specifically says Zangors, so you can't reanimate the disc ones.
Yeah.
Dang
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Sacrificing's a little weird in my opinion, but I think that's pretty on Zeech brand.
It is.
So, yeah,
and
it's
like
fun.
lore-wise, Zangors are just like humans that got transformed by magic.
Yeah.
Up next is the detachment Rubrique Phalanx. The rule is all is dust, the shortest one on the list so far. Each time an attack with unmodified damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to a Rubrique unit, add 1 to your armor saving throw against that attack. That used to be just what the Rubric Marines did. That was their ability. And now they made it a detachment rule. But it is nice that it's all Rubrique. The first enhancement is the Risen Rubrique. At the start of the declared battle step formation, select either 2 Rubrique battle line units or 1 Rubrique non-battle line unit. From your army, they have the Infiltrator's ability. Ooh. So you can pick 2 units of normal Rubric Marines, or I don't know exactly what's Rubrique, but I know Scarab Cults are. So that's it's a little weird because Scarab Cults already have Deep Strike, but you can put them out turn 1 basically, which is kind of nice, and they're tough as hell to get rid of.
Yeah, I think it's just your Rubric Marines, your Scarab Cult Terminators, and because I don't think the Exalted Sorcerers at least aren't. I don't think.
I would think. So the Sorcerer and Terminator is not. Interesting. Exalted Sorcerer. No.
Yeah, because I think the Rubrique, like I think the
Rubrique is
all
just
is
the
dust is the guys that are actually dust.
Yeah, and none of the
Little lore fact: the sorcerers are actually still human, at least most of them, because they were enough to resist turning to dust.
They're human-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are Rubrique. So are the Terminators. I think that's it. Okay, so spam those 2.
Basically, your Rubric Marine detachment.
Yep.
And your Terminators, which I have like 15 Terminators, and
Nice.
I'll probably have 20 if I get my hands on the Battle Force box.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the putting 2 battle line units in Infiltrate is really good when you have the Flamers.
yeah.
They're again, you were talking about the AP4 Flamers earlier. Yeah, those Flamers can mess some stuff up. The next one is Arcane Thralls, which is an aura. While a friendly Rubrique unit is within 9 inches of the bear, you can reroll Battle Shock tests.
Battle Shock's still not relevant.
Battle Shock's still not good. Lord of the Rubrique. While the bear is leading a unit, each time a Rubrique model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. Very nice.
Yeah.
I could see that in like a big old unit of Scarab Cults. And lastly, the Stave Abominus. The bear's melee weapons have sustained hits, D3, and devastating wounds. That's also pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very Rubrics heavy, Scarab heavy, offensive. And then the All is Dust is interesting. 2 CP stratagems in this one. 1 Rubric Marines unit, an engagement range of the enemy, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Okay. Psyker, subtract 1 from the damage of opponent's shooting phase, so you can minus 1 to their shooting damage. Opponent's shooting phase, 1 Rubrique within 6 inches of a Psyker when it is destroyed. After the attacking unit is shot, Rubrique unit can shoot as if at the shooting phase. Okay, so if they kill your Psyker, you can shoot with a unit nearby. Minus 1 damage being 2 CP does make sense. That's very strong, especially when you can bring it down to damage 1. Ooh, that's really good. Rubrique unit until the end of the turn, eligible to shoot in which you fell back, kind of the opposite of the Zangor ones. So shoot and charge in which you fell back. Movement phase, you can ignore any or all modifiers, movement characteristic, and advanced rolls. And ranged weapon equipped with models have. Wow. Your unit can ignore any or all movement characteristic and all modifiers to its movement characteristic and advanced rolls. and ranged weapons have assault. Okay. And then lastly, there's the other 2 CP strat. 1, Thousand Sons Psyker from your army has not been selected to shoot. All Inferno Bolt Pistols, Inferno Bolt Guns, Combi Bolters, Inferno Combi Weapons have the Psychic ability and strength of 5. That one is interesting because I see nothing else in here that synergizes with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some like auras, like I know Magnus used to give a bonus to like the psychic weapons around him. But
yeah,
like
because the first attachment we talked about gave a bonus to psychic weapons.
But this is a
But
different
this
detachment.
is a different detachment, so it doesn't really affect that.
So why would they be psychic? So
yeah, I
there's
think
got to be.
there's some abilities on their sorcerers. I think that.
So one of the things that used to be in the index was there was I think it was 4 different strats that were like your psychic weapons get plus 6 inches, psychic weapons get plus 1 AP, your psychic plus weapons blah blah blah, and then there was a strat that says this, all of your bolters become psychic weapons. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's like a combo. You use both and they can become ridiculous.
I think it's on one of the abilities in the data sheet.
Yeah, I could see this being, I mean, obviously it's the generic, my guys are made of dust.
Yeah.
Walk up the board.
Run your rubrics, and the thing I like about it, too, is the bolt guns weren't used a lot in the index. Like, it was a very... flamers were very obviously better in every way, shape, or form, and they're still really good in this one. But this detachment kind of helps their bolters, especially when you find that combo for the psychic weapons.
Yes, the psychic weapon one, because that specifically does not say the flamers. It is only the bolters and combi weapons.
Yeah, I don't think it's the strongest detachment of theirs, but it's not bad.
Honestly, the double infiltrate might make it pretty good, but yeah, I don't know if it's the strongest. I still like the first one the most.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. This one's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But mostly because it's got the new guys.
It does have the new guys. They are vehicles.
They are vehicles.
Warp Forged Cabal. This is the Warp Fire Infusion is their detachment rule. Each time a vehicle in your army is selected to shoot or fight, select one of the following. If that vehicle is within 6 inches of a friendly psyker, reroll 1 hit, wound, and damage roll. Otherwise, you can reroll 1 hit, wound, or damage roll. I've noticed they've been doing this on the, as you get stronger, you get all of them instead of just one.
Right.
Each time a Thousand Sons vehicle model in your army with the Deadly Demise ability is destroyed within 6 inches of a psyker, that Deadly Demise inflicts mortal wounds on a 5+ instead of 6.
That part kind of scares me, though.
Yep.
Because it's enticing you to have... because these guys still get predators, they still get all the vehicles that some of the other books lost.
Yeah, your fiends, the new guys, predators, all that stuff.
And it kind of entices you to keep them close to your sorcerers so they get their buff. But then if they blow up,
I love that you have to be within 6 of a psyker, and it also explodes 6 inches away.
Yeah. So basically, it's like stay close to them to buff them, but if they blow up, they blow up.
Yeah. Because you can't just run your Sekiro robots up there and they'll blow up in your opponent's face. You have to have a Psyker nearby for it to work.
Right. Well, that's part of though. The Sectar robots don't have Deadly Demise.
Oh, they don't? Really?
So the guy that they are protecting is not really affected by that.
That's true. He just gives the bonus to hit and wound.
He still gives the bonus to the robots. They just don't blow up.
The first enhancement is Warp Siphon. While the bear is within 6 inches of one or more friendly vehicles, each time the bear channels the warp, after that roll, you can roll an additional d6, but before checking for doubles or triples. After you roll that additional d6, but before checking for doubles or triples, okay, I want to make sure, the bear can use this enhancement. If it does, select one of your vehicle units that vehicle suffers 1 mortal wound, and you can re-roll that additional d6. So you roll 2 dice, then you roll a third dice, and you can take a damage to re-roll that third dice.
Yeah.
Interesting. I hope that one's cheap. Perplexing Cloak. While the bear is within 3 of one or more friendly Thousand Sons vehicles, it has lone operative, so it's like a mechanic. The biomechanical mutation. In your command phase, you can select one friendly vehicle within 6 inches, regain D3 lost wounds, so like a mechanic. And lastly, the Warp Cursed Rune Master. While the bear is within 6 inches of one or more friendly vehicles, each time the bear manifests a ritual, add 6 inches to the range of the ritual. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, especially some of them are 24. Go up to 30 with those. Armor of Contempt against vehicles. -1 to your opponent's AP targeting a vehicle. Not bad. Objective marker is mutated and remains under your control. Sticky objectives, and each time an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, fallback, shoot, or charge within range of that objective marker, roll a d6 on a 4-up. They suffer d3 mortal wounds. Kind of a punishment for getting on your objective. Your vehicle is eligible to shoot and charge in a turn in which it fell back. So very similar to the Rubric one. Vehicle within 6 inches of Thousand Sons Psyker until the start of your next command phase. Vehicle is malevolent. While a unit is malevolent, it can ignore any or all modifiers to the following. Profile characteristics for models. Weapon skill, ballistic skill characteristics for weapons equipped by those models. By its models. And any roll or test made for it, excluding modifiers to saving throws. What? Your vehicle... Okay. So you basically ignore any penalties your opponents put on you except for saving throws.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's everything but Armor of Contempt.
Everything but Armor of Contempt. And then vehicle within 6 inches of a psyker. Ranged weapons equipped by the vehicle have a psychic ability and add 1 to the wound rolls. So only in range, but pretty good for +1 to wound. And then vehicle in your army within engagement range of an enemy unit. Opponent's charge phase just after they end a charge. Roll 6d6 for each 5-up they suffer a mortal wound. Then they must take a battle shock test.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Mm.
All these are 1 CP. So relatively reasonable. Yeah, this one actually might be my favorite too. So I think the first one is probably the best one. But this one's probably my favorite one. I do like vehicles. I like big zombies.
Yeah, same. And I don't know. I wanted to call it their Rhino Rush, but like, again, they have predators still. They have vehicles still.
Like,
so
it's not a Rhino Rush. You don't take infantry.
yeah.
You take your psychers. You give them lone operative and put them in units that are gonna stop them from dying.
Yeah, you take your sorcerers. You put your robots around your sorcerers. Then you take predators, defilers. Like, probably still not going to take the Defiler, but like
Mauler Fiend, Forge Fiend.
Forge Fiend.
So yeah, I like vehicle detachments. They're very fun.
So as far as data sheets, Magnus is kind of the same.
Okay. So ranged weapon. I can look at both. Stat line exactly the same. Gaze of Magnus is 3d3 to up to strength 11 from 9.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's it for the Gaze of Magnus. Zinch's Firestorm. Blast. It now ignores cover. It didn't before. So it now ignores cover and has +1 strength. Blade of Magnus is same across the board. The sweep is lost 1 damage.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, gained 1 damage. What the hell?
Or no, it gained
a damage. It went to damage 2 from damage 1.
I thought it went from 1 to 2. That's actually huge.
Yeah.
Except for, well, I don't know. Book points are never true.
Book points are never true.
But
he's currently 465.
yeah.
And all of the other demon Primarchs are under 400. Because both, I was just talking with some of my friends about this, Fulgrim and Angron are both 385. And Mortarion is 350.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably going to go down. Abilities. He doesn't have Cabal Sorcerers anymore. Oh, he does have Cabal Sorcerers, but not for that.
Yeah, they just moved it.
Yeah. Friendly Psyker uses a Psychic attack. It is add 1 to the hit and wound roll. Doesn't do that anymore. Instead, this model can attempt 2 rituals per turn instead of 1 and add 2 to the Psychic test. Okay, +2 to his casting. And then, like all of the other Primarchs or Primarch equivalents, he has 3 different options. These are called the Crimson King. They are exactly the same.
Nice.
So basically, his attacks out a little bit better, and he now casts spells better rather than buffing the psychic powers around him. Which is interesting, because in the Cabal of Sorcerers, you can make your stuff psychic, and he doesn't buff psychic anymore.
Right.
Interesting.
Buffs himself.
Ahriman has pick 3 things and put them into redeploy or put them in reserves. Whenever he casts a spell, he can add 1 to his test. where he used to be able to do 2. No, he used to do a ritual for free and add 1 to the wound roll for the unit he's in.
And it is notable now, he is only on his disc.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't have him on foot?
They don't have him on foot anymore.
Well, I gave you a useless model then, didn't I?
Yeah, but he's metal, so I still like him anyway.
That's true. This is metal armor. Did you any of these that you want to talk about in particular?
The new robots, obviously.
Obviously, want to talk about Sequitar robots.
Who else?
Sequitar robots.
Sequitar robots.
They have a heavy warp flamer. They can Overwatch or heroic intervene for free once per battle round. They come with a heavy flamer, the Hellfire missile rack, and the Melt-A-Gun. Gross. And you can replace your Melt-A-Gun with a projector and a power claw. The projector is basically a teeny tiny flamer.
Yeah, it's a little teeny tiny flamer with the claw. Look at his core abilities, though.
Infiltrator stealth.
Infiltrator and stealth.
Nobody told me this robot had infiltrator stealth.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
And then, I don't remember the combo, but because, like, you don't attach a sorcerer to him. You just keep a sorcerer around them, and they act as a bodyguard. And I want to say it was in the vehicle detachment that, they just, like, take shots. I think it's in their abilities. Or
Nope.
they had something to where...
Their only ability is they can fire Overwatch or intervene for free.
Oh, where was it? Let me see real quick. Okay, so you do want to take Perplexing Cloak with the Sequitar robots on your sorcerer because it gives them lone op when they're within 3 inches. So basically, you're not attaching him to the Sequitar robots. You're putting them near him, and then he has lone op. And then there was... So yeah, it was lone op. Basically, it's not like an ability. It's just lone op, and then naturally they just can't shoot your sorcerer while these guys are around. So they talk about it like as fluff, like they bend time and they get down Mr. President, but basically they kind of naturally do that. If you put Perplexing Cloak on them, you give your guy lone op, then they can't be shot.
It is only for 1 unit though.
Yeah.
Because it's an enhancement.
Yeah, so it's not as crazy.
Yeah.
They have some really good flamers, so you're hitting those Overwatches. D6. They have the missile rack, just like the Terminators.
Strength 10, 2 shots piece. Are they only 2-man unit?
No, they can be 4 as well.
Ooh.
2 or 4. But yeah, I'm excited to try them out. I don't know that I'll be running a lot of them because they are expensive, but I'll have a couple sorcerers getting juiced by them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been it for this book review, I think.
Thousand Sons? Yeah, I think so.
Pretty...
last of the Chaos Cults.
Yeah, the last of the Chaos Cults. I don't really know much about World Eaters or Death Guard. I know Death Guard's just, like, super good right now.
Yeah, Death Guard is kind of, like, out of the book busted. People are kind of waiting for it to get nerfed. And World Eaters, they nerfed a lot of the stuff that they used to be able to do. Mm-hmm. Their blood points lost a lot of their utility. They're more like super offensive, which I think that's how it should be. I think the way that I see it, the cult should work out like so. Death Guard, slower than normal, hard to kill. Corn, normal speed, normal to kill, hits like a truck.
Yeah.
Emperor's Children, really fast, either easier to kill or normal to kill. Hits like normal. And then these guys, they're all about the shooty and shenanigans.
Yeah.
So them being the psychic powers, mortal wounds. None of the other ones really have a ton of shooting. Death Guard kind of does, but it's not more than usual.
Right.
Where I think these guys should have more shooting and less melee.
Yeah, and I think that's how it is.
Yeah.
I would say that's how it is. Yeah, Death Guard has decent shooting, but it's mostly just their special weapons and their Marines, and then they have their special tanks and stuff.
Yeah, they're like bombards or whatever.
But yeah, so the Death Guard are super overpowered, busted right now. Khorne is not in a great place, or World Eaters is not in a great place. Emperor's Children.
There is exactly one list that is placing an Emperor's Children, and it's triple Demon Prince with wings.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
And that one's doing really well, and none of the other ones really are, so the internal balance is a little weird. But I'm looking forward to see what these guys do, because these guys have been everywhere in the meta, from the menace you have to worry about to like, they're fine.
Yeah. And I think that this book, they'll stay at the little, they're fine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in here that's really screaming out, oh my god, it's going to be so broken. But there's nothing in here that's like, oh my god, this is terrible.
I mean, okay, AP 3 Flamers is still pretty good.
Yeah. But even then, like, they're on, like, damage 1 Flamer.
That's true. They're damage.
So, like, if you get, like, a lot of shots through, which, I mean, it's a Flamer, and then you still got a wound with them, like, you get some shots through, and you'll pretty much guarantee to do that damage if you get that far. So that's nice. So yeah, I don't think they'll be crazy, but that means that they won't get taken out back and shot like everybody else who came out super busted this edition.
That's true.
But that's all I got.
Yeah, I think this looks great. Obviously, I'm kind of passing the reins of my Thousand Sons off to you, because they weren't really fitting my playstyle. Plus, I have too many 40k armies as it is. So I'm glad that I could give them to somebody who's interested in them, excited about them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Happy to give them a spin once this book comes out.
Hell yeah, we gotta play a game.
Yep. If you made it this far, thank you very much. We always appreciate the likes, comments, and subscribes you may leave. If you want to talk to us directly, we do have a Discord server down in the comments below. Come say hi to us. We'll typically say hi back, talk about random stuff, mostly Necromunda. But either way, until then,